Hello again, classroom. We are going to show you what you're going to get and kind of explain the roles of each person in the group. So at the beginning of the game and every day, you're going to have your envelope here. In your envelope, you're going to have some important information. The first information is your family name. You guys get to choose your family name, but there's a little family profile here that explains a little bit about your family, the strengths of your family, and the weaknesses. So this particular family's strengths is you are more prepared for the adventure than other settlements. You can have any penalties from disaster cards. So when you get a fake card that says disaster on it, you only get half of the negative pieces of that. And finally, weaknesses. You are proud in somewhat difficult time mixing with indigenous cultures. You have a minus happiness for any trade card with indigenous people. So again, you're going to see cards in here that have trade on them. You're also going to get a region card. Much like the family card, it will have a description up here. It'll talk about your bonuses here and your negatives here. You'll also have roll sheets. You can find this on Google Classroom as well. And every day you're going to have a recorder, a mayor, and a fate bringer. And every day those roles will switch. So for today, Miss F is our recorder, and she'll explain a little bit about what she does.
So this recording sheet is on paper, but the rest of them will be on Google Docs. And for my job as recorder, I have to type up all of our info. So that means what's in our scenario cards that the teacher will share with you, what information that you need to know and remember about your family and about the region while you're thinking about your scenario. And it also includes how your group solved that problem and what effects that it will have for your group for the next day. As the recorder, you also have to make sure that each of your group members gets a chance to share their ideas and that they're represented. So even though Mr. Wetsky is the mayor and Mr. Hill is the fate bringer, I still have to have them help me figure out the scenario.
As Miss F said, my job today is the mayor. My job is to make sure that everyone stays on task and that we're trying to solve this problem. When there's any kind of conflict for the day, my vote gets the final say. And at the end of it, I need to go on to Google Classroom, and there will be a little evaluation form every day on how we worked together. And it will be my job to fill that out and submit it. Finally, Mr. H is our fate bringer.
So now you've typed up your decisions and your rationale for how to handle your scenario. Your mayor or leader has helped in the final decision when there is any debate or discussion. And now that that's all typed up and ready to go, it's time to go to a teacher and bring your information to the teacher. Your teacher is going to say, all right, let's look at this together, give you a grade, and say, all right, you're going to go draw from the draw 3 pile. If you did a good choice but not a really great choice, you would draw from the 3, we're not calling them fate cards, calling them consequence cards. So the fate bearer would go and get these cards for their group. Typically, you're going to go and draw
2 cards.
2 cards. And so you go and draw those cards for your group. And then during the language arts class, as the fate bearer, your job is now to vlog. That means to do a video diary about your group's experience that day, about what cards you got, and ultimately what that meant for your group in terms of points. So what you learned, how you handled that scenario, what your cards were, and what your final point tally was. So you're going to video diary those things as the fate bearer.
Like we said, these roles aren't going to be permanent. Every day we're going to switch. So Miss F was the recorder, I was the mayor, Mr. Hill was the fate bringer. Tomorrow I would be the recorder, Mr. H would be the mayor, and Miss F would be the fate bringer. And that gives everybody a chance to do the video blog and everything else like that.
It's really important that you guys understand that you share in the responsibility. So there's no one person that is always the go-to. Each person is to help the other members of their group. And while we know there are some times that certain members of the group might dominate the conversation, for the purpose of this activity, it's always important to remember that you take your turns, in various roles, and you allow for every person to have equal voice.
All right, now we're going to move on to an actual round.